Hey guys, what's up? It's Eric with Advanced Level Auto. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. Alright guys, so today we're here at the shop to take a look at this 2016. This is a Dodge Charger or Challenger. I'm not exactly sure which one it is. Really nice looking car. Step back, take a look at it. Really nice stance. I like these badass wheels. So anyway, long story short, this vehicle came in. It's a no start and it will not go into gear. Now, the shop already took a look at it and they said that it has no communication with the TCM and the gear shifter is flashing. Now, the shop went ahead and replaced the transmission in this thing, thinking that maybe it was a problem with the TCM, but even after replacing the transmission assembly with the TCM, it still has no communication, so we're here to take a look at it. Now, initially, I did hook up my Top Don Phoenix Smart, but I figured maybe I'd take this occasion to show you guys a different tool, something that's a little bit more affordable. This one, as you know, is probably like around $3,000 or so, out of reach for a lot of people, especially DIY guys. So I decided to give myself a challenge today. We're going to be using this Kingbolen S608, super affordable scan tool. This one pretty much any tech can buy. Now it does give you full functionality for 4 modules, including the PCM, the TCM, the ABS, and the SRS. Pretty much what most of us are going to be working on. And the best part about this tool are the updates. We'll get to that later. But like I said, typically with the job like this, I usually go straight for the professional scan tool, the $3,000 Phoenix Smart, the Autel Ultra, something like that. But I do want to take this opportunity to show you guys that diagnosing a vehicle like this is possible with a scan tool like this. So I'm going to go ahead and plug it in. All right, so we've got the Kingbolen connected to the OBD2 port down there. Let me go ahead and try to start this thing and show you guys. It's got this little Iron Man cover on the push button start, which is kind of cool. So let's go ahead and see if we can start it. And I forgot the battery's disconnected. All right, so moving back into the trunk, let me show you guys the negative battery cable is disconnected. Now the reason it's disconnected is because whenever you turn the key on, it won't turn off. So I think what they've been doing is just disconnecting the negative battery terminal. Let's go ahead and put that back on there. All right, so now that we got that snug, let's move back into the car. And once again, I'm gonna put my foot on the brake and we're gonna push the start button. As you guys can see, nothing is happening. Well, the dash comes on and the shifter, as you can see, is actually flashing, but the engine does not crank. Let's go ahead and shut the AC off to conserve the battery. Now moving over to the scan tool, as you can see, our battery voltage is actually pretty low. We're somewhere around 10.5 volts. So we need to make sure to keep an eye out on that. Anyway, we're gonna start by clicking on diagnose and we're gonna click on auto search. As you can see, it's scanning the VIN number and there we have it, 2016 Dodge Challenger. And we're gonna go ahead and hit automatically search. There's our vehicle information again, hit okay. Make sure the key is on. As you can see, it's scanning through the vehicle. And just like that, our scan is done. Again, we're only scanning 4 modules here: the PCM, the ABS module, the airbag module, and of course the TCM, which is the one we're going to be focused on. Now, if you guys pay attention here, the powertrain control module, the PCM, we do have 2 codes, and the 2 codes that are popping up are for lost communication with the TCM transmission control module. And if we come down here to the ABS, you can see in the ABS we also have lost communication with TCM. It's also giving us a lost communication with the ECM, though that is a stored, not an active code. I don't know if I'm really going to focus on that code because if you look, we actually do have communication with the PCM. Now if we scroll down, you can see the SRS module or the airbag module. It says normal. We don't have any codes there. That's likely because the SRS module is not on the CAN communication system with the TCM. Or if it is, it's not looking for the message coming from it. Now what you don't see is the TCM. Now the reason the TCM is not coming up on the scan tool, again, the problem is we don't have communication with the TCM. So let's go ahead and move over to the wiring diagram and see what we can find. All right, so I've got the wiring diagram pulled up on my computer. We're inside my truck right now. And this here is the wiring diagram for the TCM. It's pretty straightforward. If we zoom in right over here, you can see this is our transmission control module. Now, I've said it plenty of times before, whenever you don't have communication with the module, the first thing you want to check are the main powers and grounds. Of course, if you don't have power or ground, the module's not going to wake up. Now, typically, most of the modules on the powertrain are going to have 2 power sources. One is going to be a battery power all the time. Now, that's going to be the battery power that basically maintains the module's memory. So even with the key off, there's still power getting to this module. Then you're also going to have what's called an ignition power feed. So this is going to be a power feed that's only there with the key in the on position or in the start position. And this is basically to wake the module up, to tell it, hey, the key is on, it's time to wake up and get to work. Now, sometimes you'll have multiple powers and multiple grounds, but in this case, as you can see, it's pretty straightforward. We've got one fused battery positive on this pin 13. It's a yellow and red wire. This is going to be our battery power all the time. And if we highlight that and we follow it up, you can see that it comes from this fuse number 29. It's a 15 amp fuse that is in the front power distribution connection box located on the right side of the engine compartment. And if we go back down to the module, you can see here we have our ignition power feed, pin number 9, this pink and white wire. So if we highlight that and scroll up, we can see that that power feed actually comes from the body control module. So whenever the body control module detects that the key is on, it's going to send a power down to the TCM to wake it up. So those are going to be our two main powers, and right down here, pin number 14, this black wire, that's going to be our ground. So those are going to be the first things that we want to check. Now, if we find that everything there is good, then we're going to move on to checking the CAN bus communication circuit. But right now, we're just going to focus on the main powers and ground. Now, there's a couple things that we can start by doing. We can start by just going under the hood and checking this fuse number 29. That's probably easy enough. Or we can just go straight down to the transmission, get to this connector, and check everything directly there. I'm going to see if I can get these guys to lift this thing up in the air. That way we can just do all of our checks down at the transmission. All right, so because our battery got really low, I went ahead and just disconnected the cables, and I've got my jump pack connected in place of the battery. So we're gonna go ahead and raise this thing up in the air. All right, so I'm also gonna be connecting these jumper leads to the battery. That way we can have battery access underneath the vehicle. So we're gonna put the red on the positive and the black on the negative. Now we can run the extension cables under the vehicle. We're gonna raise this thing up. All right, guys, so we got the vehicle up in the air, and I've got my test light slash load tester connected to the battery negative, and we're gonna come down here and we're gonna look for the connector for the transmission. You guys take a look up here on the back side of the transmission. You can see we got our connector right there. So I'm gonna push the lever up and pull this connector out. Try to wiggle this thing out of there. There we go. Now if you take a look at the front side of the connector, you can see we got some numbers on here. Now these numbers are a little difficult to read, but I'm gonna try my best to match up the numbers with the wire colors on the back side. All right, so the pins that we're gonna be looking for are gonna be 13, which is this one right here in the center. That's gonna be our main battery power feed. Then pin 14 down here, that's gonna be our ground. That's a black wire. Then pin number 9, this one right here, that's gonna be a pink and white wire, and that's gonna be our ignition power. So we're gonna start by checking pin number 13, which is this yellow and red wire back here. So yellow and red wire right here, that's our main battery power feed. And so I'm basically just gonna take the tip of my little test light slash meter, and we're gonna touch that pin 13. Now I'm not gonna jam it in there, I'm just gonna lightly touch it. And as you guys can see, we are showing 11.8 volts. So we do have full battery voltage here. My jump pack is getting a little low. And damn it, I just popped that fuse. All right guys, so be real careful when you're doing testing like this. As you guys can see, I was in that pin number 13, our battery power feed, and I accidentally managed to touch the casing of the transmission here. And so we just popped that fuse, but no big deal. Let's move under the hood. All right guys, so under the hood, this is our fuse 29 right there, our 15 amp fuse. And I'm pretty sure I just popped it. So let's go ahead and pull it out and take a look. And yeah, I can already see it. Our fuse is definitely blown, my bad. Let me go grab another one. All right guys, so I went ahead and installed another fuse. Let's move back under the vehicle. All right guys, so we're back under the vehicle. Now just double checking our pin number 13. You guys can see we got power again. Now what I want to do is I also want to load test this power to make sure that it's good. So I'm just going to push this little button here on the side, and when I push this button, it's going to put a load on it, and this little test light's going to light up. So let's go ahead and push it. And as you guys can see, the test light lights up nice and bright. So that is a good solid power. Now let's go ahead and check pin number 9. That's going to be our ignition power feed. Just so you guys know, the key is in the on position. So let's go ahead and touch it. Okay, so I'm in there, I got good contact, but as you guys can see, we don't have any power there. So it looks like that's where our problem is. Now we could also just go ahead and check the ground while we're here. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch my alligator clip for my test light. All right, so I'm touching the ground pin, and as you guys can see, we have a good ground there. Let's go ahead and load test it by pushing this little button here. And as you guys can see, it can carry a load, so that is definitely a good ground. All right guys, so we've pretty much narrowed down where our problem is. We're not getting this ignition power feed at the TCM. And again, this one comes from the BCM. Now, if you take a look at this diagram, you can see there is a connector somewhere in the wiring harness between where it comes out of the BCM and it runs down to the TCM. But what I really wanted to find out was whether or not this power feed gets shared with any other module. So here we have the wiring diagram for the BCM, and if you take a look down here, this is our pin 31, our ignition power feed that comes from the BCM that goes out to the transmission. And if you take a look here, we don't have any dotted line, we don't have any indication that this power feed gets shared with anyone else. This power goes directly from the BCM down to the TCM. So I think what I want to do next is we're just going to go directly to the BCM, and we're going to see if that power is coming out of that pin 31. All right, guys, so if I'm not mistaken, I believe the BCM is here on the passenger side, so we're gonna go ahead and remove this paneling. All right, so I've got the kick panel removed, and we can see the BCM. It's right up in here. Now the connector we're looking for is C5, which is gonna be this gray connector back here. And the nice thing is that we can actually see our pink and white wire. It's right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my alligator clip on here. This one right here that has the little spikes on it. So we're just gonna go ahead and pierce it. All right, so we got a good bite on there. Get you guys a closer look. Again, you can see that's our pink and white wire coming from our C5 connector. Now we're just gonna take our little test light and we're gonna put the other end on the tip of this test light, and we're gonna check to see if we got power. And there we have it, guys, 9 volts. Well, my jump pack right now is getting low, so that's why we only see 9 volts, but we definitely have power here.
A few moments later.
All right, guys, so fast forward. Let me apologize. I made a mistake. That is not the correct pink and white wire that I was looking for. It turns out there's actually 2 pink and white wires listed on this C5 connector. So when I went back and took a look at the connector diagram on all data, the pink and white wire that I was actually connected to, or where I had my piercing probe connected to, was pin number 27. Now that's also an ignition power feed, but it doesn't go to the transmission, it goes to somewhere else. When I took a closer look, I realized that I was on the wrong wire. So again, if you take a look, this is our C5 connector right there. And the pink and white wire that I was on earlier was this one right here. And if you take a look, that one, if you look in the socket right here, that's actually pin number 27. So this pin 27 is also a pink and white wire, but it doesn't go to the transmission, it goes somewhere else. So this was a little confusing because when I counted the cavities up to pin number 31, this right here is the wire for pin number 31. And if you take a look, that wire does not look pink. It looks more like a orange and brown wire. So I'm not sure if the wire just changed colors, though it's not really exposed to any sunlight or heat down here behind the kick panel. So I don't think it changed colors. I mean, the diagram shows that this pin number 31 should be a pink and white wire, and I double checked the other colors of the other wires and they are correct. So I am looking at the correct connector and the correct series of wires, but again, the diagram shows this one should be a pink and white wire as well, and it's just not. So anyway, now that I'm on the correct wire, if we take a look here at our test light, you can see we don't have any voltage coming out of the BCM. Now the ignition is on, and if you take a look at the jump pack, you can see, I mean, we're getting a little bit low. We're at 11 volts, but should still be sufficient. That means that if we're on the correct wire, we're not getting power coming out of this BCM. All right, guys, so before we just go ahead and call a bad BCM, we do want to go ahead and check the main power feeds going to the BCM. Now, this is pretty straightforward. There's only 4 fuses that feed power to the BCM, and they're all in the rear distribution module. So if you take a look, you can see these 3 fuses right here go straight to the BCM, and they're the battery power feeds. And then over here we have a 40 amp fuse, fuse number 7, that's also in that rear distribution box, and that goes to the BCM as well. So I think what we need to do is go ahead and check all 4 of these fuses, make sure that they're good. Also make sure that that power is actually getting to the BCM before we go calling any bad modules. All right, guys, so moving into the trunk of the vehicle, down here is our power distribution box for the rear. Now the fuses we want to look for are fuse 6, 7, 8, and 9. And they're all located right here on this top row, and I can already tell you guys number 7 is missing. So again, we'll take a look. This is number 6 right here, and the fuse looks good. This is number 7, the fuse is missing. 8 and 9, and these all look good. So I don't know what's up with this one, why it's missing, but I'm gonna go ahead and drop a fuse in here and we'll see what happens. I'm just gonna reach into my electrical drawer and we're gonna see if we have the correct fuse. Yeah, should be a 40 amp. Let's go ahead and grab one, 40 amp, let's drop it in. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and drop our fuse in. And hopefully we don't blow this fuse. We got it in, seems to be holding up. Let's go check our meter. Check it out, guys. We got power. Again, my jump pack is low. We're down to 9.5 volts. I'll take you to the back and show you. 9.6 volts, that's exactly what we're showing up there. Let's go ahead and plug the transmission back in. So I'm just gonna raise this sucker back up. Okay, so while we're at it, I guess we could just go ahead and test it. So we're just going to carefully touch our pin number 9 down here and check it out, guys. We got power. Yep. Let's go ahead and plug this sucker back in. We got the connector lined up. We're just going to go ahead and pull the lever down, snap it into place. We're good to go. Now, before I lower down the vehicle, I want to show you guys something. So if you take a look under here, you can see that they've got some LED lights installed. There's a lot of aftermarket stuff on this vehicle, and obviously you can see the wires running through the frame right there. But yeah, there's no telling what they did, what they wired, and where they wired it to. So I'm not going to say that this is 100% fixed. There has to be a reason why that fuse blew. But for now, if we can get this thing to start and show that the transmission communicates, at least we know where our problem is. All right, so we got the vehicle lowered down. Now, the first thing that I noticed is that I was actually able to turn the ignition off. Before, when you turn the ignition on, you weren't able to turn it off. So now that this thing can turn off, you guys take a look at the cluster, you can see it's blacked out. The vehicle is off, so let's go ahead and hit diagnose. Well, let's first turn the ignition on. Okay, our ignition is on, but our battery is super low. We're only at 7 volts here, so I gotta put a jump pack on this, but let's just see if we can communicate with the TCM. I'll be happy if we can see that. And I don't know if we're gonna be able to do that because now we're down to 6.7 volts, but let's give it a shot. Nah, our battery died out. Let me get another jump pack on this thing. All right, so let me go ahead and hook up my jump pack. Now, what I have here is the AVAPOW. This is a 6,000 amp version. I got this thing about a year ago, and let me tell you guys, I freaking use this thing almost every single day, and it is super powerful. Hands down, the best jump starter that I own. I've been able to jump big diesel trucks with dual battery setups that are completely dead. I've overheated the crap out of this thing multiple times, and it just keeps on going. Now, the only thing about the AVAPOW is that it's only going to give it a brief jolt, so we're not going to have that sustained voltage. So I'm just going to go ahead and see if we can start the vehicle with this. Just go ahead and connect the positive to the positive and the negative to the negative. Let's see if we can start it. All right, so we'll hop inside and give it a shot. And there we have it, guys. This thing started right up. As you guys can see, our engine is now running. Was not running before. And let's see if we can reconnect on the scan tool. So we're going to run the health report. It's scanning the vehicle, and already you can see we got communication with the TCM. Now we do have a bunch of codes here, but again, the battery was low. It was not communicating, so I'm not surprised that it's got a bunch of codes. We're just going to go ahead and clear everything, and it's clearing all the codes. We're all green, no more codes. The gear shifter is no longer flashing. Now, the mechanic just told me that there's no fluid inside the transmission, so I went ahead and shut the engine off. I'm not going to attempt to put this into drive or anything. Our job is pretty much done here for today. Now, if this fuse blows in the future, we are going to have to figure out why it's blowing. Likely it has something to do with the lighting that's installed in this vehicle. Again, that fuse number 7 on the diagram does show it to be for the exterior lighting, so they got to have something installed in this vehicle that's aftermarket, and it's probably shorting out somewhere. Now, the history on this vehicle, I don't know. The mechanic did tell me that this car has been handed down through several hands. It came from another shop, so we don't really know who pulled the fuse out or why it was pulled out to begin with. But at this point, we've done everything we can do. I'm going to go ahead and put everything back together. Like I said, our job here is done. That's a fix. Now, if you guys are interested in more information about the Kingbolen S608, make sure to check out the link in the description below. I also recommend checking out the Kingbolen S6. This is the upgrade for the S608, and for just a little bit more money, you'll get full system diagnostics on every module in the vehicle, plus lifetime updates as well. You'll find links and coupon codes in the description down below. Thanks for watching.